Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country Returns. We're going to start World 4, The Cave, with Rickety Rails. Now, World 4 is kind of interesting because pretty much all of the levels, in fact, I think all of the levels involve, like, vehicle-type things, you know, like mine carts or the rocket barrel that we did before. This one has a little bit of platforming involved, but most of the other ones pretty much revolve around those aspects, so just keep that in mind as we go forward. It's also a really short world. I think each one, I think there are only 5 normal levels in this one, if I remember correctly, and also each level only has 5 puzzle pieces, so just keep that in mind. There's not really a whole lot to collect here, but what is there can be a little bit tricky to find at times. First, you want to head over to the left into this hole in a tree, and a puzzle piece will pop out, which is cool. Then we can pound on this thing to make another barrel appear, which will shoot us into the foreground again. Now, if we pound on this, that will cause those sticks of dynamite to explode and open up an entrance to the cave. So as we head on over, there's not really too much to check out here. Seems like a pretty linear path. We can pound on these things to make things pop out. That's kind of the, I don't know, background object in this world, I guess you could say. And before we head up here, we want to head to the right, and these rocks will fall away to reveal a puzzle piece. That's number 2. So we climb on up, and once we get here, we're just about to be starting the minecarting section. In fact, here it is. So right off the bat here, jump in these bananas to get the K, and then keep going on this way. And then, of course, we'll get to our first checkpoint really quickly. I don't want to start you out too fast. Before you head to the right here, head to the left first and head into this little entrance, and that will take us to a bonus game. And this is one of the easy varieties. And of course I missed one of the bananas too. And you can also land on this platform over to the right if you want, but probably would have been quicker to just head back to the left first, but whatever, either way we got it. Alright, so let's get back to the actual level. We got some falling platforms here that are pretty easy to jump on, and now we're going to do a little bit more mine carting. First here, you want to jump over that bat to get the O, and then just jump onto each of the next mine carts as you see them. It's not really that hard to figure out, because if you don't jump, you die, so it's just kind of instinctive, really. Now we're going to be taking back here and firing through these things. Don't worry, the dynamite doesn't hurt you or anything, it's just there to look cool. Now these platforms are going to start tilting, so just make sure you time your jump appropriately. And then we want to get this in before the platforms fall away. If you can leave yourself a few to land back down on, that's usually a good idea. Alright, now here we just got to make some pretty precise jumps into these things. It's really nerve-wracking when the platforms fall away in front of you. Now here you want to just stay put because there's a barrel underneath, and that will take us to another bonus game. Kind of breaks up the action a little bit if you ask me, but oh well, I guess I can kind of see why they did it. Oh man, it always feels like this one takes forever. There's just so many rows of them to collect, you know? Alright, and there we go. So let's get back to it. We've only got one more puzzle piece to collect, and also one more Kong letter, so we're just about done. You can probably see the puzzle piece up there, but we're going to have to go back to the left first. Make sure you jump late so you don't land inside of that barrel, because that will obviously make you pass up the puzzle piece, which we don't want. Then here, jump into this blast barrel to get the G, and it'll put you right back on top of the cart, which is pretty awesome. And this is the end of the level, so, well, life works. That's good for me. We're getting close to 99, aren't we? What was that, 87, I think it was? So, cool. But there we are. There's the Kong letters and the puzzle pieces. We can go on. So let's take a quick look at the map here and see if I was right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, one of them's the shop, so there's only 5 normal levels, which makes this this world kind of quick, especially being vehicle-type levels. You know, they're all kind of on a fixed pace, so this world can go by pretty quickly, but it's definitely really fun. So we're going to move on to 4-2, Grip and Trip. And this is pretty much the first of the World 4 levels that revolves almost entirely around the vehicle section, in this case minecarting, as it is in most of them. But it kind of makes getting all of the puzzle pieces and Kong letters a little bit more difficult, because if you miss one, you can't really go back for it. So levels like these, you really have to stay on your toes, especially if it's your first time. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. Alright, so now as we go through here, you want to jump a little bit early to get up on that upper path and then get the puzzle piece right after it explodes. And now around here we're going to have a life balloon if we want. And jump up to get this one, then jump up into this blast barrel to get the K. And then right after this one, we want to kind of jump back a little bit and get in that blast barrel to get a bonus game. As you can see, these would be really hard to just sort of pick up by ear, I guess you could say, like your first time through. So I guess watching this might help quite a lot of people try to find them all, but they're not really that hard to find, I guess. It's just a matter of being able to get them all. You know, like on your first try, you don't know what to expect, so it can be very easy to pass them up. Alright, so after the bonus game, we can collect these bananas, and now we need to do a full jump off of this little thing right there to get that puzzle piece, which can be a little bit hard to do as well. And once you get to this climbing section, you can take a little break if you want, as long as you're holding the button down, and you'll stay on, so that's good. Then after we land here, we want to jump up to the top, and that will let us get the O that's right above us. Now, once we get here, we're going to do a little bit of ceiling karting, I guess. I don't really know what else to call it, but I guess that is more of a train than a kart, but whatever. So it explodes when we get the checkpoint. Then you also want to hit this to the left to get our fourth puzzle piece. And now we can continue forward. We got some more ceiling karting to be doing. You're going to be seeing that quite a bit, hence the grip part of the title of this level, I guess. Alright, and then once we get here, it's pretty much just a straightaway. It's actually rather relaxed for the time being. You can jump up and down if you want to get a few collectibles, but if you don't care, then you can really just stay on one or the other. Just make sure you're at the top when this thing ends, because as you can see, that's going to explode. Got to do a well-timed drop there to get the end, and the puzzle piece right after it. And now here, we want to do a full jump off of this guy and get into that blast barrel. That one can be hard to get as well, because you have no idea it's coming. And another big thing to remember here is not to use the jetpack. You can see we got the G back there, but if you use the jetpack, you will lose literally all forward momentum, and you'll probably just end up dying. So make sure you do let go of the A button at some point when jumping. I don't care. Life's fine. And there we go. That takes care of 4-2. Pretty much the rest of these levels are going to be fast-paced and action-packed like that, so there's going to be definitely a lot of quick thinking going on here for sure. But there we go, we've taken care of 4-2 rather quickly, so now we're going to move on and 4-3. As you can see, kind of the next path from here gets a little bit blocked off by the lock, so I guess we can go ahead and stop by Cranky's place. Can you believe the shack they stuck me in? It seems alright, I guess. Okay, so let's go ahead and buy that map key, because coins are completely inconsequential at this point. You need a key to bust through some flimsy lock. Well, yeah, unfortunately I do. Say there's a banana out there that not only tastes great, but warps you to an alternate dimension. I say yes, please. That doesn't sound very healthy for you. I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but yeah, we'll actually see a lot more about that pretty much at the very end of the game. So we're going to 4-3, bombs away. And this one, much like the previous levels in this world, is a minecart level. The mechanics are slightly different, though. Instead of, in the first levels, you sort of jumped out of the minecart and onto other ones, but in this one we're going to be taking the minecart with us, so just a slight change in mechanics. But at first, if you want, you can go over to the left to pick up those bananas. It's probably a good idea anytime you find yourself back at the start. And then let's hop in and get this thing going. Now, right off the bat here, we want to get the K on this jump. That one's pretty much automatic, I think. I don't think it's possible to miss. And then here we want to duck down under those sort of crystal spikes there. Then do a full jump off of this mold to get on top of the track there with the puzzle piece. And then keep going. Now, once we get here, this is going to get a little bit tricky. The O is right at the end of this path. You want to jump as soon as you can in order to grab that without getting the spikes. Then you want to do a short hop to get that puzzle piece right afterwards. And then keep going. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with this. It's hard to sort of explain what's going on while I'm doing it. So hopefully you can pick up a lot of it just by sort of seeing what's going on. Then here we got some crystals going to break this up. Drop down into the third one, and that'll let you get down here and pick up a puzzle piece at the end. That's number 3. So now we can keep going. Things are a little bit more calm now. There's a lot more time in between things to get, so we should be a little bit easier to commentate on. And here you want to stay up as long as possible to grab that puzzle piece. That one's pretty easy to time. And do short, short, full there to grab the N. And then this is kind of where the level's going to get its name. I think we've seen this happen once before, but it's going to get a little bit more tricky here. This mole has to do a short, short, and then a full. in order to get across here. Then he's going to land in another minecart and pull out a huge bomb, which explodes further on down the track. And now we are going to get into probably well, it's definitely the coolest part of this. We're going to be riding around in this circular track while it's just kind of rolling. I think that's really neat. You don't really have to worry about too much. Just make sure that you jump over the gaps. Nothing else will do anything to you other than that. So it seems like there's a lot going on, but just pay attention to what you're doing and you'll be fine. Alright, so let's see. Yep, we've got 4 or 5 puzzle pieces in the Kong letters. So to get the 5th one, we want to head over to the right and into this bonus game at the very end. And just finish collecting all these things. I don't know if we've seen this exact variety yet either. I don't think we have, but it's so hard to tell. They all blend together, so... the goal is still the same, of course. Alright, so let's just finish getting these at the top. Then grab the puzzle piece, and that is going to mark the 5th one, and that will give us 100% for this level. Awesome. Alright, so let's just go ahead and get this thing over with. Yeah, see, like I said, there's going to be a lot of fast-paced action, so that one, you're definitely not going to get all from your first time through. There's just no way. Alright, so we got everything, and we can move on. Now, I think beginning with 4-4, we're going to start doing the rocket barrel type levels. We've done 3 minecart levels so far, and I believe the last 2 are both rocket barrels, so they're both also really annoying, by the way. But we're going to go to 4-4 Mole Patrol, and as I mentioned in the last part, this is going to be the first of 2 rocket barrel levels that we need to go through. So these can be kind of annoying because, as I've said before, it's a little bit tricky to control. But overall, I guess it's not really that bad. But first you want to head to the left into this doorway here, and that'll take you to a bonus game. It's pretty easy to skip that if you're not thinking to. So just go ahead and finish this one up. And there we go. Alright, so now let's get to the actual level, just a coin in there if you want it, and get to the rocket barreling. So pretty much anytime you see bananas, it's a good idea to get them. There are a couple trails here that have one of the Kong letters hidden inside, and also there are some trails where if you get all the bananas, a puzzle piece appears, like that one. So it's good to be able to control yourself here. That life balloon is also pretty helpful to get, you know, because it'll pretty much just give you free lives every time you mess up, which you probably will at some point, so... Alright, so let's just keep on going. Now, these moles are going to appear with balloons. If you can hit the balloon instead of the mole, it will actually cause them to drop. Keep that in mind. It's probably a good idea to practice here at the start because you will need to do this later. So, just make sure you're decent at that. Now, the O is going to be just up here. Just right there to get. It's pretty easy. Just drop on down. And here we have the first checkpoint. Alright, so I think, yeah, we need to get all those bananas to get another puzzle piece. We got some more balloon moles to deal with. Now here we need to actually defeat all of the moles. Once the train starts going around in circles is when you need to actually start popping all the balloons. When you do that, a puzzle piece appears. Then make sure to get the end down there at the bottom. Just definitely be looking for it. Now you have to follow the train through this little tunnel here, which is pretty easy. Just keep track of where you are. Don't bother looking at the train because that will just distract you. Alright, and then once we get here, the G is going to show up right up top there. Make sure to veer up and grab it. We have all the Kong letters, and now we are at the end of the level. And also, before we hit the exit barrel, you want to head over here and pound this to get the final puzzle piece, and there we go. That marks all 5, and I almost just rolled off the edge. That would have been horrible. So let's get our reward and get on out of here. 99 lives! Hey, look, I don't know if we just hit it or if we hit it earlier in the level, but it would have been awesome if that exit barrel actually got me to 99, but there you go. We've reached maximum lives. Awesome. Alright, so yeah, that level was pretty quick. Like I said, the world goes really quickly because all of the levels are pretty much at their own fixed pace. So, you know, it's not really much you can do to slow it down. So as a result, it does go by pretty quickly, but we're going to be going to 4-5 Crowded Cavern. And this one is the second of the rocket barrel levels that we're going to have to deal with in this world. It's a little bit more difficult than the last one. But if you're trying to just get through it, I don't think it's really that bad. The problem comes in trying to get all the puzzle pieces and Kong letters. There's a section at the end that's really annoying to do so we'll definitely have to look forward to that. But first off, as we go to the right, this platform is going to crumble. Then as soon as it does, you want to jump back to the left, and a puzzle piece will fall down. That one's kind of tricky. I like that one, but... And then we can drop down and pick up the bananas if we want. But before we head to the right, go back to the left first, because you can head in here for a bonus game. And we've got to collect the bananas spinning in a circle. I like trying to get all the ones around the outside first. I don't know, that probably slows me down a little bit, but whatever. Hey, alright, that went pretty well. Okay, so now we can get the meat of the level started. As we head to the right here, we're going to see there's a bunch of these bats kind of hanging around. They're sleeping, so let's be quiet. Let's not wake them up. Everybody be quiet. And go! And of course when we do that, that wakes them up. So that's pretty much going to be the main idea of this level. It's called Crowded Cavern because it's crowded with a bunch of bats. So keep that in mind. Basically, these guys are pretty easy to avoid. Obviously, you just don't want to be where they are. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. And then we don't need to get all these bananas, but it's probably a good idea too because the K is actually at the end of the trail. Then don't worry about the big guy behind you. He can't get you no matter what, so he's kind of just there to distract you, I suppose. Now here we want to float up to get that puzzle piece and then back down to get the O. And we have reached our first checkpoint. Now with these big blue guys, you want to go to where they start out because as you can see, they go from bottom to top or top to bottom. So you want to go actually where they start, which is a little bit weird, especially because, you know, you're trying to avoid both them and the standard purple ones. So just be a little cautious there. Then the big guy's going to come out and start trying to chomp at you. Just make sure you avoid him. You got to give him a pretty wide berth. He actually has a larger hit range than you might think, but it's just really weird. And once again, he's going to come up behind you. Just ignore him. He's going to get really close, but he can't hurt you, so don't worry about it. Alright, now we have our next checkpoint, and coming up here is that annoying part that I was talking about. Once we get past here, the big guy's going to come up back behind us again, and this time he's going to be shooting these little shockwaves at us. What I like to do is start at the top there so you can veer straight down for that puzzle piece, then go down, up, and back down, and then you can grab the G, and then back up and finish avoiding his stuff. As you can see, it's a little bit tricky to do. Then once we get here, he's going to pause for a minute, which means he's charging up for that. So just make sure you stay at the top, and you can avoid it. And there we go. He crashes and burns, and then we end the level. Let's make sure we got everything. Yep, 5 of 5 in Kong. Awesome. So let's get out of here. So you can definitely tell getting that last puzzle piece and the G are pretty annoying, especially if you don't have a strategy going into it. So if it's your first time, you'll probably have a lot of trouble going for it. I know I did. My first time through, I actually lost quite a few lives on this level trying to get those. Thankfully, they're just right after a checkpoint, though, so that does make it a little bit less annoying. But either way, just make sure you plan out a strategy for those pretty much. We're just about to finish up World 4, but first we have to take on 4K Jagged Jewels. And this one can be pretty difficult. I'd say it's most definitely the hardest K level that we have faced up to this point. They do actually make it a little bit easier on you, as you'll see once we get in here and start heading to the right. They do give you a DK barrel, which means you've got 4 hits to spare here, so you'll probably end up using at least some of them, if not most. So, alright, obviously you can see the gimmick here is there's going to be a lot of spikes popping up from the ground, so just make sure anytime you see those things shaking that you're not standing on it whenever it comes up anyway. So pretty much you have a little bit of time in certain places to plan out your moves, but a lot of this can be pretty fast-paced, and you can't really stand on the platforms for long, so just keep that in mind. Here you can kind of rest a little bit. These spikes won't do anything to you, so you can take your time in a few different places. So let's head on through here before we get crushed, and I think our first puzzle piece should be right here on this platform. Just make sure to jump whenever the spikes are about to come up. And if you have the jetpack, you can sort of use that to stay in the air longer, which is definitely nice. And just also make sure to watch out for those things that are circling around the platforms. That can be really annoying. Almost got hit there, but... Alright, stay under this here. And time it out. Like that. Alright, now to go through here, just be a little bit cautious, but as long as you pretty much go as fast as you can, as soon as you can, then you'll usually be alright. And then here, once we destroy this guy, we can pound his face to get our second puzzle piece, which can be actually kind of difficult to collect without getting hit, so there you go. Now once we get on here, we're going to have these things sort of tilting back and forth, which makes the platforming a little bit more tricky. You also got to watch out for the spike rings coming at you, and that was really close. Probably should have waited there, but we're still alright. Alright, so obviously you want to wait for these big spike things to detract, and this puzzle piece can be a little bit tricky to get. You just kind of have to hope you jump low enough to get it without getting hit. So now it can be a little bit hard, but of course if you do have some hits to spare, it's not really too bad. And we got to keep going across. You can see there's another one down there in the pit. We're going to have to do a roll jump for this one, which is also a little bit tricky. You run pretty much straight into that wall, so you got to be somewhat quick with the jump. Alright, now let's kind of wait a little bit. It's not really set up very well right now. This will work. Whoa! Okay, I should have waited longer. Oh well, that's fine. Alright, then wait for that guy, and back across, then jump. Alright, yeah, these things are kind of... I hate the things that go around the little enemies. I don't know what to call them really at all, but those probably make it more annoying than almost anything else in this level, I think. Alright, so let's just keep on going. I'm really surprised I haven't gotten hit yet, actually. I've usually gotten hit at least once by this point. And now here we've got to make a pretty tricky jump. We've got to wait for the platforms to be in the right place and for the spikes to be out of the way. That's a good time, but you still almost get hit, so... Okay, and then here we need to jump onto this, then onto the big outer ring. And we're just about at the end. You can see the puzzle pieces above us. Looks like we can't really get to it, but actually you got to be a little bit courageous and then just jump out and get it above the barrel. It's puzzle piece number 5, and we finished it up. Now let's grab the pink orb at the end, and that does it for 4K. I can't believe I did that entire level without getting hit once. That's kind of neat, but... So, yeah, that one's a little bit more tricky, as you can see, but as long as you keep your cool, that will go a long way towards helping you complete it. Alright, so now that we've finished up 4K, that should be 100% for everything except the boss, which we haven't done yet, of course. And you can't really get 100% on that, it's completed or don't, but let's finish up World 4 with the Mole Trade. And this boss is actually kind of interesting. It's a little bit different from the things that we've seen. We're going to be facing a lot of sort of smaller minions first, and it's also sort of interesting the fact that you can speed it up and skip almost half of it, so... we'll be doing this a couple of different ways. It's going to be somewhat interesting, but for now, let's see what we're dealing with. Yeah, so we're pretty much facing these moles here on a train. As you can see, we're pretty much stuck in place for right now. You really don't want to move off this thing. So we can basically just sit here and avoid the guy's pickaxes that he's throwing at us, which is pretty easy as long as you give yourself a little bit of time. You can jump to grab hearts every now and then if you want. And now we're going to start going down the slope and pretty much just keep doing the same thing. It's really not that hard yet. And as you can see, we're now starting to sort of close in a little bit because he's detached from the train. Once we get close enough, we can jump over and start the sort of next section of this fight. These moles are going to be popping up. We want to jump on them as they come up. Of course, they can damage you while they're coming up since they have their claws sticking up. So just make sure you're not right on top of them when they come up and you'll be fine. There we go, we cut them all in one bounce, which is awesome. Then they're going to sort of break away, stand on the one that isn't about to fall off. Of course, they'll be fine. Now, you can speed this up sort of by jumping over from the start. As you can see, if you time the jump right, you can pretty much just go straight to the right and skip that entire section. So that makes things going a lot faster, and I believe if you're going for the time attack thing, you actually need to do that in order to get the best time possible. So just keep that in mind. And for some reason, they're being really annoying here and going back in like really quickly. So there we go. I'll take that hard too. Oh, front one this time. And now we can do that same thing again if we want. It's going to get a little bit harder if you choose to just dodge the pickaxes. As you can see, he starts throwing somewhat quickly, and if I tried to jump there, I wouldn't have made it. So if they're going down the slope, you can just jump and you'll be just fine. So Alright, let's do this one more time. This is the last time we got to do this section. And of course, it's getting darker in places, so it's going to be a little bit harder to sort of see what's going on, but you should still be alright. It's really not that hard. Whoa, I thought I was going to get hit there. Alright, so now that we've taken care of that, let's just get on this last one more time, and now we're going to connect with the train and start up the actual boss part of it, I guess you could say. He's going to cause multiple those carts to shake, so we pretty much just have to wait for him to pop up and hope he doesn't pop up right on top of you. Then jump immediately so he doesn't hit you with that pickaxe, and then pretty much just repeat the process. See, yeah, right there, I was pretty much screwed. I didn't really have a chance. Whoa, alright. Alright, so let's go and beat up the banjo. I'm guessing 20 or 21. I think probably 20. Let's see. Oh, awesome. Alright, so, yep, there we go. That's going to do it for 4B. Like I said, it's kind of a different boss fight. It's definitely different from what we've faced so far, which is always welcome. So that's definitely good. But that is going to finish up World 4. I said it at the beginning, but it's a pretty quick level, only having 5 normal levels, so... and all of those are vehicle, as I've said a couple times, and you've definitely seen by now. So it does go by pretty quickly, but the next world is definitely very cool. The forest. Awesome. And this one is also pretty large. I think it has 8 normal levels, so we're going to be in the forest for a little while, but we're going to take that on next time. So until then, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you then.